It's Edge Radio Australia, Soulbirth time, of course, doing our thing with the amazing Faye Suzanne beside me. It feels like a week since I've seen you last, right?
Funny that, isn't it? Funny.
It is funny that. We're consistent, right? We do it. Now, I would normally yap on, as we all know. I could talk underwater, right?
Yeah,
and I haven't had the
you
opportunity to talk so much to our lovely guest today, so I am looking forward to jumping into the show.
I know, looking forward to today.
Would you like to do the introductions?
I would love to do the introductions. Cool. Yes, thank you, Aaron. Because after last week, we had a lovely conversation about, death as a transition.
Yep.
And we mentioned about, dying and death doulas and what have you. So today we have got an amazing guest on our show. We've got Andrea Anthony, who is an end-of-life doula. And I am so excited to have you on the show. So welcome, Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Faye. It's amazing to be here and share what I'm so passionate about.
I love the fact that you're so passionate about this. Yeah. Honestly, when I speak to Faye all the time, how do you put this nicely? Well, okay, I'll just put it down the line. What's wrong with you? And why are you so passionate about death? Come on.
The passion comes from love and past experience and how we can do things better.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
So get it right on this lap and you'll get a better shot next lap. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, I think so. But it's also about just communication, talking to people, wrapping those beautiful conversations about what we want at the end of our lives. If we don't know what people want, how can we honour that?
Exactly.
It's so true. Now, when you're talking about honouring that, are we talking about just the process of death or are we talking about life in general?
Life in general, we can live so much more fully if we have the end of our lives planned, right? We're only dead when we're dead.
That's right.
The rest of the time we're alive.
Not a problem for me. Everybody else's problem, right?
And we did have a conversation about that last week too, because when you come to terms with death and dying, because it's inevitable for all of us eventually, it's the only way out really, of this particular experience. And when we can get our head around it and actually, be okay with it, then we can really fully live. We give permission to ourselves to fully live, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. I fully believe that. Yeah. You just see the transformations in people, particularly my friends. I lost my dad four and a bit years ago to cancer.
Am I sorry to hear that? I mean, hey, he might be partying pretty hard now, let's be honest.
He might be. Yeah, I hope he is. I really hope he is. And but there's always a little piece of him with me as well, and from that's where my journey began really, was losing Dad and just learning journey along the way. What could we have done better? What could we have done better for him? What could everybody have done better? And it's those learnings that really pulled me into where I am now. I'm a business analyst. Sure. I'm also a vet nurse.
So it's similar professions. Yeah, that all works together.
So the way, through my work in a vet clinic, I see animals dying every day.
Of course.
Right. So and it's a decision that we can take into our own hands and bring comfort to our pets. And as sad as it is to lose a person, an animal, anybody, grief is about a job. You've lost your job, you lose friendships, relationships, all those things bring about grief. So I see that in my workspace at the vet clinic. And then my business analyst said, well, how can we do this better then? So, what can we do? So I asked through the nursing side, I wanted to know everything, all the details. I wanted to ask all the questions, teach me, train me. I want to know what this is going to look like. I want to know what I'm going to feel, what I'm going to see, what I'm going to smell, like all those things. That was what I needed to know at that level. And not everybody is like that. And that's completely okay too. What each individual person can deal with is completely acceptable. And that's what you learn as my journey. You just have to meet people where they're at. That was my biggest learning out of all of this, and all the people that I work with is, as much as you want to jump in there and help, because that's what a doula heart does, right? They help. And I was like, sometimes you just need to take that step back and say, hey, Remember, this person isn't quite here yet. You need to meet them where they're at.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really good basis to have. And some people want to know everything. Some people don't want to know everything. And it's just opening that space for them to feel comfortable, to speak with you, and to honour the person that they are about to lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the role of the doula too is very much about holding their hand and walking them through the journey, isn't it? And helping them show the guideposts and fill in the missing information that they might not have.
Absolutely. So a doula is a non-medical emotional support.
Okay.
So we don't have to be registered nurses.
No.
I'm a registered vet nurse, but I'm not a human nurse, right?
Okay.
So and so many of us come from diverse backgrounds. I have a friend who's a doula. She's also an accountant. We are
What a mixed
mums.
bunch.
Yeah, we are mums. We are pet parents. We are we are brothers, sisters, daughters as well. There is nothing that says you have to have this piece of paper to be a doula.
I understand the accountant one though. That does make sense to me because I need my hand held when I'm doing my taxes.
Oh yeah,
so
exactly.
I get
exactly.
that.
Well, there could be an accountancy doula.
Could be. Can we get one of those?
Actually, as a doula, I find, or doula, or any support role like that, I feel like you're kind of having a Mary Poppins bag because you carry a bag of tricks, and everybody has a different background, and the bag is full of so many different tricks, and you kind of need them, and you pull them out depending on what the person needs, don't you?
Yes,
because
absolutely.
everybody needs something different.
Something different.
The more wide your experience, the more tools you've got to pull out of your bag.
Agreed.
To help.
Absolutely agree with that.
And some of the other doulas that I work with, they may not be able to sit with someone at the last minutes of their life.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought that was like a prerequisite.
But paperwork.
Well, exactly.
Is such an important thing, having your paperwork in place.
Right.
And a lot of our work is advocating for people to ensure their paperwork is in place. We just push and push and push for all this paperwork, right? So most people I speak with, they don't even know what an advanced health directive is.
No.
Yeah,
Most
that's
don't.
right.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's something actually we talk about here. Sorry. Yeah.
No, you.
Because it's just like we're very, very lucky. We've got a great sort of diverse bunch of shows here at Edge, and sometimes we're talking with some really great finance people, and you wonder why they feel it's so important. Well, guess why it's important? It takes so much stress off you, so much stress off the family. It's from how does money from that side of things and the organisation of it? How does that stop pain? You can see it. It's very, very clear. Yeah. And I'm not saying about the amount of money. What I'm saying is the fact that it's organised, that you're not having to worry and stress about those things.
Yeah. And I was going to ask, there is a key difference, isn't there, between a death doula and an end-of-life doula? Now, is this part of it?
Well, it depends what people prefer to be called. Okay, so they can be a death walker. They can be a soul walker. They can be a death doula, end-of-life doula. I prefer end-of-life because I feel it's all encompassing. Because I'm not just there for those last moments of life. Right? I'm on a journey with somebody. I want to know what their life story is, how I can make things, their last moments precious to them and their family, and what supports do they need in place? Have they got a story that they haven't told that they want to share with somebody? Have they got a secret they just want to reveal at the last minute? Do they want to have a big party? Do they want to be in silence? Everybody is individual, and everybody wants something different. And as a doula, we're here to say that's okay. You don't have to follow the norm.
No, you don't.
You can have it exactly the way you want it to be. It means to be meaningful to you.
It does, And then it's having those conversations with the family as well, so that they're all aware of the wishes of the dying, so that they're honoured at the time as well, so that they get what they asked for, not completely the opposite.
Which I've gone through that. Absolutely. When I lost my mum, people were trying to do the right thing, invert those commas, and they were stepping in saying, "Oh, you've got to have this, you've got to have that," and I was absolutely against everything that my mum wanted. And unfortunately, those people got what they wanted, right? Because they were so pushy about it, and I found that so disrespectful to my mum. I really did. Why do they not just follow her wishes? Whereas if you've got somebody there who's working as an advocate, what a difference that would make.
Absolutely. And the conversations that we have with people now are, I wish I'd known about a doula before. That would have really helped me, and it would have made our situation lighter. And, because most people don't know they're in it till they're in it.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And you'll hear a lot of doulas will say that. And we don't want people to have to wait till they're in it.
Yeah, exactly.
We are here to help and make that journey less heavy.
Which is why it's so important to have these conversations now, not wait until you're in that period where you're having to think about it when you're grieving. So having these healthy conversations about it with your family and loved ones well ahead of time so that you know what each other wants, because you never know when it's going to be your last day. It's not necessarily when you get old. It might be tomorrow. We just don't know when that is going to be. So isn't it great if we have a plan in place so everybody knows our wishes so that it's far less stress. It's one big thing that you've ticked off that you don't need to worry about when it does come.
and how much more fully can you live your life through having that done?
Yeah, exactly.
See, that I'd never even looked at that point of view. I as I say, from personal experience, unfortunately, like most of us, have been through a few deaths in the family, and there've been in a couple of very, very, very big events in my life, I have not been allowed to grieve. I've been too busy looking after everybody else that I don't get to grieve. Right, and I think so many people can identify with this. I tend to think because I've seen so many people step up and feel they've got to take that role. Whereas if somebody was there, the plans are in place. Guess what? Like, you can grieve. You can go, it doesn't have to be a year later or whatever where you go, okay, I now allow myself to actually, take this in and accept it. So
exactly.
This is something I've never heard of. When we were first talking about this, I thought, we're talking about, somebody giving you a eulogy on the way out, which, we've all sort of done. Most of us have done, I guess. But this is far more encompassing. It's a much bigger deal.
Well, doula, the word originates from, it's a Greek word, and it means to serve. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We're serving our people. We're looking after them. We're taking care of them. And we used to do that, right? We used to have great grandmothers used to have parlor rooms, right? Lay our dead out on the dining room table, and everyone would come visit and be around that person, be with that person, and then it just got all taken away from us.
So many parallels there. It's like birth and death. Back in the day when everything happened in the village and everything was natural and normal and everybody, the whole community was involved in all of this, both ends of life, and held the person through their life as well. But all that's gone. And so it's kind of like trying to bring those things back, isn't it? Bring back the sacredness and, the open conversations, bringing people back together again. So what does a session look like, if you were to work with an end-of-life doula, or like what does that entail? I know it takes many different guises depending on, the individual needs, but typically, like, what would you be doing?
So first of all, making sure that people have their paperwork in place first and foremost. Okay, so we would go through that process of putting those in place.
Paperwork with everything.
Yeah.
Don't we love it? Oh, just love it.
No. So
we have so the paperwork that I would recommend everybody to have is a will. If you are over 18, you have any assets at all, then you need a will. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would highly recommend that you get that will done by a lawyer, by an estate lawyer. There's all these online ones and things like that. But if it's the first time you've ever had to do anything like this, they can kind of tease out little things that you may not have thought of. A lot of people go, oh, well, I'm estranged from this person. I want to make sure that they don't get anything. Okay. So that's the kind of stuff that an estate lawyer can draw out to make sure that's all written in. If you want somebody to have everything, if you want somebody, you want to leave money to your pets, to a charity, those kind of things, you really want all that information. So I highly recommend getting your will done and making sure it's up to date. If your personal circumstances change, you get divorced, you have a blended family, especially, make sure that all that paperwork is done. So the next one is guardianship, enduring power of guardianship. So in guardianship, you nominate a person who would act on your behalf if you were no longer able to speak for yourself around your healthcare wishes. So what would your healthcare look like for you? So your guardian can make decisions around who you live with, where you live, who you socialize with, as well as those important medical decisions.
It's important because you really want to know that somebody you trust is going to be in charge of that.
Absolutely.
Because again, you don't even know when that might happen, because you might think it's end of life when you're, when you're older and you've, lost your ability to think or whatever, but it could be a car accident where you've turned into a vegetable.
You could fall down and smack your head and not be able to speak.
Exactly.
And medical people need to know how to treat you, right? Exactly. So the conversation that goes with that around having that paperwork done, and you can't just scribble a person's name down and sign it and they don't know anything about it, right? They'll be like, they get a call and say, hey, you're so-and-so's guardian. We need you to make this life-changing decision about their treatment. And they're like, oh, we haven't had this conversation before. So
silly thing, but work with me on this one. Medical alert bracelets, right? I had one as a kid. I'm allergic to penicillin, right? So therefore, it's really bad if you give it to me in an emergency. So you have that on there, right? Now, that right there is a document saying this is the way that I need to be treated. Like, why don't we think about this in I don't know, a much bigger picture about exactly what you're saying? The people you'll stay with. It's, you know what I mean? It's just it's a paper version of it that you put somebody in. You've entrusted someone to look after. It's such a detailed thing. I'm really surprised by the social element of it. The people you could be surrounded by. I mean, I've seen people pass away, and I've seen the vultures. I hate the vultures, and every single time someone passes away, you see it, right?
Very sad.
Tells me everything about the person. It's been good for me because I've been able to tell, gee, I don't want anything to do with you ever again because I see how you act. But again, just end of the day, when you have finished your life, you would like your wishes to be respected, and it'd be great to have somebody who can step in and say, well, hang on, this has all been done. This has been planned.
Yep, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a family member either. A lot of people think, I have to pick my spouse or my partner. And so, it's always good to just have those options and let people know that it doesn't have to be. It can be a really close friend, someone you've known all your life that you entrust dearly. That's how I picked mine.
Yeah, right.
So,
but what if you want to pick outside that circle? Because I can actually see an advantage just going, hey, I just like a professional to do it. Because then it takes the emotion out of it, it takes the politics out of it. Does that often happen when you're sort of
it absolutely can. Nothing is off limits. It's who you choose to put on that piece of paper is totally your decision, and it can be anybody.
And at the end of the day, that's a legal document that you've written, so nobody can overrule that.
It's not the only thing that can override it is your advanced health directive.
Right.
Okay. So if you've got that completed, then that is the document that sits above all others in regards to your health. Okay. So if there was something that was a bit ambiguous in the directive, and the medical staff weren't clear on that, they would then go to your guardian and say, hey, because you should have had those conversations with that person, right? So they should know the answer to that question. So the medical staff are going to be, you've got a guardian, let's call them up and let's get them in here and let's have a chat about this because we're not really sure about what needs to happen in this scenario.
Right.
And you mentioned the Advanced Health Directive, so a lot of people don't know what that is. Can you just explain that?
Advanced Health Directive is a legal binding document available on the government website. You can download a copy and you can even do it online and submit it, but it doesn't need to be signed. It needs to be signed and witnessed. So doing it all online is great to a certain point, but you're still going to have to get it out of there and get it signed.
Have to print it. There we go.
So we can't completely do away with printing at the moment. So I always say to my clients, like, if you've already got a doctor's appointment lined up, then take your witness with you. Go get it signed while you're at the doctor. So there is a signing matrix, your JP, your pharmacist, those kind of things, all those kind of people, your accountant, dentist, police officer, all of those.
I thought you said someone you could trust. Anyway,
so they're all on the signing matrix, right? So if you have someone in the family, they can do that for you, or you're going to a particular appointment. Some people do charge for the service of witnessing, so just be mindful of that. Most local libraries offer JP a couple of days a week, and you can go down and get it signed there. But I say to a lot of my people, if you're already going to a doctor's appointment, take it along with you, take your witness with you, do your signing, and it's all done. And the important thing after you sign your health directive is to have it uploaded to your My Health record.
Right.
Okay. So once it's there, then it's accessible if you were taken by ambulance to hospital. They can pull that up, and they know that this is what your wishes are, instead of giving you treatments that you might not be okay with.
Because you might not want resuscitation. Say if you have a cardiac arrest when you're in there, you may say, I don't want to be resuscitated if that happens. It's got to be written down.
Okay, on that front though, and I think that some of the people who will be watching the show would identify with this, because we're a bit different, some of us. I don't do my health, okay? I don't want I don't like the doctors having that sort of information about me. We've seen over the last 5 years what they'll do with your private information when it comes to your health. So I don't play that game. Is there an alternative to doing that?
So I would make sure your doctor's got a copy.
Okay. Simple as that. You make sure your regular doctor's got a copy. That's fair.
Your doctor's got a copy.
Yep.
And then also your guardian has a copy.
Yep.
Okay. Because in that document, it's going to list who your guardian is and their contact details.
Okay.
So they can then call on that person. Okay. If there's a hospital or a specialist person that you are attending, if you already have an illness or something happening, then also make sure they've got a copy. You can give a copy to whoever you want to. Okay. But if that's the way that your preferred treatment, then you want people to know what
definitely.
That is. So the more it's out there, the easier it is for them to access that information to treat you the way that you want to be treated.
And does everybody need one of these directives, or is it just if you've got kind of a complex history?
No, everybody.
Yeah.
Because anybody can have an accident, right? And be rushed to hospital. Yeah. And if there's certain treatments that you don't want,
so if you don't want a blood
that's how it's going to be known.
Or, if you don't want to get,
Well, if I had an accident and I couldn't speak, I mean, I know there'd be parties.
I know like, oh my God, there is a God.
They'd be dancing in the street, right? Yeah.
We would miss you. We really would.
But you would want someone to act on behalf of your actual wishes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Definitely.
That's great.
The GP's a good idea. I like that. Because I've been no great anarchist, maybe a little bit of an anarchist, but it's just a little bit. But we do have concerns about our data and information. Okay, it's a big play right now, and we don't have a lot of privacy as is. We're being followed by algorithms left, right, and centre. But your GP is your GP. Okay, and even if you don't see the exact same person, maybe the clinic is probably close enough. Let's face it, right? Yeah.
Give a copy to your doula.
Give a copy to your doula.
Exactly.
Yes. Yell that from the rooftops. That one.
Exactly.
That's a great idea.
But that's really good that you brought that up, because I wouldn't have thought to do that. I thought that was only for people who were, had a complex medical history or something, because I've only ever seen it kind of used in the hospital setting. But to actually think about that, even if you're young and healthy, it's good to know that that's a necessary thing to have.
It can happen at any time. Death doesn't discriminate, right?
No, that's right.
So we're all infinite beings. Yeah. So and then the other piece of paperwork, there's two more. So you've got a power of attorney.
Yep.
So your power of attorney will come into play if you lose capacity to make decisions for yourself about your finances.
Right.
Okay. So they can't make decisions about your healthcare or your medical decisions. They are only for your finances.
Right.
Okay. Right. And the other thing that I recommend to people is have a living will.
A living will.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to explain what that is?
A living will. So it's where you can write down all your wishes.
Yep.
Like, do you want to be cremated or buried?
Okay,
do you want to have a funeral service?
Yeah.
It's not legal to you don't have to have a funeral service.
Right.
You can have a memorial later on. You can have a little party. You can have whatever you want. Body disposal is different. It has to be done in either cremated or we get buried in WA. And the other option is you can...
not the backyard.
No, not the backyard. Definitely not the backyard. You can donate your body to science. They are the options for
science
us
fiction,
here.
perhaps in my case, but no, that's a great point though. I mean, again, this is all about your wishes. I love that.
Thought too.
So there are other options starting to brew away in different states and overseas, and hope to see them here so that people do have more options available in the future. There's one that I'm particularly hoping for because that sounds pretty good for me.
So
it's called terramation. So your body is actually composted and returned back to the earth.
Right. Okay.
In America and Germany.
Been in the garden.
No.
Can roll me every couple of hours. I'll be fine.
wouldn't get pressure sores.
That's right. You remember the big green bin we used to have, the big compost thing with a big handle on it? Yeah, that's all Uncle Arthur. Don't worry about him. He'll be fine.
Oh, no, I'm sure
I
it's something
think,
completely
my
different.
grandfather had one of those bins.
Yes. And no complaints from the neighbours, I'm just saying, right?
Jeepers. Are these the pods that you can get? You know, the compostable pods that you can, and that, you know, a plant can grow from, like a tree?
Yeah, so ashes, human remain ashes, are highly acidic. So if you just put them in the ground and then you grow a tree, your tree's not going to grow.
Oh, really?
People do that all the time.
So they need to be treated.
Do they?
And generally when you are returned to the earth and you use a company that offers that service, they will then blend your ashes with a mulch mix, so that the tree doesn't die, because the last thing you want is people who are upset, who think this beautiful tree is going to grow and the tree dies as well. And that can be just a double whammy.
I didn't know that.
So let's ensure that we're doing it properly and we get the mixes that we need, and we create that beautiful soil that does then allow that tree to grow to its full potential.
Wow.
I'm smiling on two fronts because, as a boy, as a man, we've all had we all want and have at some point of our lives had a lemon tree in the backyard, and we know as a boy what we're supposed to do with a lemon tree. So what about the ashes on a lemon tree? The acidic stuff? Does that help? No? I'm just trying to find a way.
I'm just getting what you're saying.
You're working it out? Yeah, okay, cool. Well, because it makes the lemons a little bit more zesty, apparently.
Gosh.
Apparently.
I did not know that either.
There we go. There you go. All jokes aside, the whole thing with the compost, I mean, honestly, I've got some funny images running through my head right now. I'm off to Bunnings. I'm going to get myself in a big green roller thing, and I put the bag of soil in there, and off we go. But but it's such a thing. So many people would love to go and visit a tree that their loved one is buried at, and you killing the tree. So I didn't know that. That's just important information, right?
So you see trees planted in local shires. Like I noticed the other day, just along the river, there's trees now with memorial plaques there. So is that generally where? Because I thought you just go and sprinkle the ashes, but no, that obviously would be buried.
Well, the ashes may not necessarily be there either. They might just be a memorial plaque.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, when you go through Kings Park, I thought all the little plaques for all those lost at war, I thought they were actually their ashes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, you didn't know until ours.
Yeah.
And when I was under 10 years old, I was like, that's where all the dead people were. And because people do have ideas of these sorts of things. And I hear it so often now about, what we do with their ashes. I mean, I've got thoughts where I want to be sprinkled, but the tree idea, I think that's a lovely thing. And I didn't know, it's just important information as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. Because we can do that with placentas as well. After birth, you can bury the placenta under a tree. And I did that with all mine. Well, you put a rose bush on top of my placentas. And, in Papua New Guinea, they buried them in a banana patch. But I guess it's the same with, people when they die. But we're talking about when you cremate and we're using the ashes. So it's the ashes, because if you're putting the body in the earth, it's not the same issue.
Not the same.
They're returning to the dust anyway. But, the ashes, wow, I never knew that about the ashes.
And also to that point, as I brought this up in last week's show, a little bit of a personal thing here, but I'm still kind of angry to this day. Angry is probably the wrong word. No, it's pretty accurate. About the fact that people were pushy. My father and my auntie were very pushy about the fact that my mum be buried. For all my life, she wanted to be cremated. And at the end of the day, she was buried. And that's so against her wishes. I found that really wrong. So, this is an awkward conversation, right? But it needs to be had. And I think that having you here and talking about these other alternatives, it's just a very positive thing. I think it's something that hopefully people start the conversations and do this at home.
And I think we need to remember too that we can be cremated and then we can bury those ashes.
Yeah.
So you've got the best of both worlds there, if that's what somebody's wishes are.
Yeah.
Because I had a lady who asked me a question, and her question was this. She had one parent who wanted to be buried and one who wanted to be cremated, but they wanted to be together. So how do we do that?
Yeah,
do we do that?
And that's the option, right? Her dad was buried, but we could cremate her mum and then put her cremation ashes with the dad in the burial site.
Fantastic.
Oh,
wow.
So they could
Great
still
for me.
be
I
together.
hate digging holes. Oh, yeah. It's only a small hole. Job done.
Exactly. Wow, that's amazing.
And that kind of leads me to death cafes.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, hang on. What in the world is that? I'll just put my coffee down. Hang on.
Just careful what you're drinking.
So I run a couple of death cafes. I live in the city of Swan area, so I run 2 there, monthly cafes. So the cafe space, it was started by a gentleman in the UK called John Ondwood. And he wanted people to start conversations around death and dying. Right?
Okay.
Bring it back to being a normal thing to talk about. Just like we talk about other celebrations, a birthday, a wedding, engagement, all those things. Why shouldn't we have our last hurrah and have a big party for us?
Makes sense.
Right. So he started these death cafes in his home in the UK, and he died only a few years after he had started. So his family continued on in his honour these death cafes. So then they just took off all over the world. So a death cafe, it's not a counselling service, but we can help to refer people if they need the help. But people just come with an open mind, open heart. Bring your. I provide the coffee, tea. Cookies. Let's sit down and just have a chat.
At your house?
No, the City of Swan office space at the library for me to do that. So once a month, I run a cafe at Midland, first Saturday of each month.
Cool.
That's 1 till 2:30, and then once a month in Bullsbrook at the library there, I run a session, and that one is the first Monday of every month, and that's 9:30 to 11. And I'm just there, even if nobody shows up. If one person comes, if 10 people, 20 people come, I'm there because I just want people to know that there is someone available. So people might not have anybody else in their family that they can talk to about what they're going through. And it's just a safe space. We're not here to fix people at the cafe. We're just here to talk. Let people have space to breathe and to talk.
Which is important. So anybody watching that hears this, if you're wanting to connect with a local death cafe, do you just Google it, death cafe, local death cafe?
So City of Swan website has the death cafes on there, the ones that I do. There's others that happen all over the place. There's a lady that's just started in Meadow Springs. A dear friend of mine, she does one at the Waldex Nursery at the cafe there.
That's nice.
The one in
Kingsley?
Wanneroo? No?
Kingsley one.
Kingsway or Kingsley.
Yes.
That one. Across from the Kingsway
she's
shop.
there.
Okay.
And there's little ones popping up everywhere. City of Wanneroo do a couple at the library there and at Clarkson Library. They're all over the place. So if you look at deathcafe.com.au, there's a website, and that has if people have listed their cafes. But usually a library is a good place to start looking and see if they've got something happening in that space.
And other people out there might also want to start one in their own area as well. So,
now, a word that you said earlier, just a couple of minutes ago, it's sticking in my head because of the fact that, men and women are different, whether we like to pretend otherwise or not, we are very different. And men want to fix things. You said fix things, right? We're not here to fix things. I so get that, right? But as men, this is how we're wired. So we hear a problem, we want to fix it. We break something, we want to fix it. That's who we are. So do you find that men don't come along to these things because of that? Like, is there I would guess that there's a heavy female influence there. Is that what you find?
There is a heavy female influence. I do agree, but I do have men come along too.
Cool.
And I've actually been to a men's shed.
Yeah, great.
And talked about these topics with the men's shed, and they were so open and welcoming. And what a beautiful little community that is. My heart was just so full after leaving there. It was just absolutely beautiful. The way that they talk to each other and the respect that they have. They do men's things together. They build stuff, and that's what they fix. So
glad you said that.
But that bond is so strong that they have is just incredible. And to just have them all attention on me and listening to what I had to say and actively engaging and asking questions, and the way that they can do their fix is to have their plans in place for their families, right? For the people that they have to leave behind.
Because talking about feelings, let's be absolutely frank, this is something that women are far better at than men, no question about it. And I think that I didn't even think about the men's shed. That's a great idea. So, look, ultimately, it wouldn't be nice if we could just get together at the same point. But we are fundamentally different. One needs to fix and one can listen, right? I mentioned it's such a great idea. What brought you to actually arrive there?
I did a presentation on paperwork and advanced health directives through the city of Gingin, the Gingin Shire, and one of the men from the med shed came. And he said, I want you to come to the men's shed. And I was just like, oh, really? Wow. I'm blown away by that. I said, I would be absolutely honoured.
Yeah.
Absolutely honoured to come and talk to the men. It was,
that's cool.
It was amazing.
That's great.
Loved it.
Yeah. Gosh. So taking it to where the men hang out.
Yeah.
It's a bit like birth classes. You take it to where the men are, so you take it to the pub, so they have beers and bubs.
See, it's coming together. It is much like all the way down good old Rockingham here in WA. There's a pub across the road that actually has a sign there saying it's a men's daycare centre for when their wives and girlfriends at the shop. I do like that. It's in the car park, big and bold.
Yeah.
Well,
so I was going to say, Andrea, do you have much to do with, so holding people's hands as they're passing over? Have you had many instances where you've been at that space as well?
Yes, that's a big part of a doula's world. Yeah, paperwork's important, but then creating that space for people, that sacred space in that, and it can be, it's so many emotions at once.
It is.
It really is. And for anybody that's been there, they completely get that. And if you haven't been there, and I'd love to just wrap everybody up in cotton wool and say they never have to go there, but you do. It's part of life. It is. It's that continuation of life. It's not, I don't see life and death as opposites of each other. It's just a transition.
It is, which is what we spoke about last week, because we're on this soul journey and we come in for a short time or a long time, whatever. We never know how long it's going to be for, and then we leave again at the end, but then we're going home, aren't we? Which is what I love the name of your business too, isn't it? Because it's coming home, isn't it? Or bringing you home.
And it just came to me I did do some doula training. So with a company called Preparing the Way, amazing place. And I was like, you get your business hat on, then you're like, how am I going to start? What am I going to do next? I need a business name. And then I was like, well, actually, I don't. I can just be Andrea Doula.
You can.
You can be.
And anybody can be. And I think I just say this isn't something that I need to get hung up on, right? I just need to let it come and let it evolve. And then I was just laying in bed and I just sat up one night and I was like, bringing you home. That's it. That's all. Wow. And I just saw imagery and colour and just this name, bringing you home. And I was like, that's it. That's all.
I really like that.
That's all it can be.
You guys have actually changed something in my mind here, my little processes. Because you're making me kind of think like, okay, like life here on Earth, it's almost like being at the airport. Okay? Kind of we arrive in there. We're in there, we're living in the old airport for a bit, we're doing our thing or whatever, and then we fly off to another location. It's kind of like, this is just a part of it.
So I always liken it too, is when we come into this lifetime, it's like planning an itinerary for a trip. So what am I going to do on this holiday? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? What are the sights I want to see and experiences I want to have? And at the end of it, you get on the flight and you leave. It is exactly like that.
Just don't fly economy, okay?
Exactly. And Andrea, as part of your business, you got to speak at a conference on the weekend, I believe. So
sorry, a dear friend of mine, she put on an expo, Dying to Know Expo. So last week on Friday, the 8th of the 8th is National Dying to Know Day.
Right, of course.
So there's events all over Australia that are held. There is a charity called Provida that sponsor people to go and do events. They had grants available this year, which was absolutely amazing for lots of people to be able to fund their events. So I went to Dying to Know Day with my beautiful friend Cara from Walker Family Funerals, just amazing lady, and she asked me to speak. Fantastic. At the event about you getting your paperwork in place. We had Cara speaking about her options for funeral director services, and we had someone from Dying with Dignity, which is voluntary assisted dying, and we had a beautiful lady who has the most amazing voice, she sung for us, Joni. She was just phenomenal. And we had Professor Davina, sorry, her last name escapes me, but she talked about preparing for death at home, bringing death back to home.
Yes,
and that was just mind-blowing, the conversations that, and people, I could just see people were just so interested, sitting on the edge of their seats listening to her. And so there's a lot happening out there. There's different events in WA that are currently happening this week, next week, because they saw it's just too much to have one day, right? So now it's a month, a year. You can hold your event and call it a Dying to Know Day event, and it can be held at any time.
Wow.
So this weekend I'm part of a non-for-profit called Ignite Your Legacy Project, and we're running a high tea on Sunday at Woodvale. Really excited. I'm going to do a presentation about doula there, and there'll be other people speaking as well, and we'll have a lovely high tea. We'll have activities on the table for people to do. They can do individual and group activities as well. So I'm looking forward to my next event.
Wow. And so how can people find out about that or get tickets to that?
So Ignite Your Legacy Project is on Facebook. There's a promo on there. Also tickets through Eventbrite.
Easy. Cool. And you know what? Even as a bloke, I love a good high tea. I'll tell you, really? How good are they?
Really?
Why not? Yeah.
I mean, it's like sweet canapes. I mean, who can say no to that? It's good. And, you have some great conversations, which is what it's all about, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And because it becomes a bit of an event, obviously. Everybody's sort of uplifted and, you're in a different kind of place, intellectually, I guess, or emotionally.
Yeah.
And there's so much to talk about, isn't there?
What I can't wait for is the feedback after. Like I love, my business analyst brain goes to that bit of processing all the feedback. What did they learn? What more do they want to know about? How can we, extend this, just keep growing this? And my motto is just weave a little bit of death into everyday conversation, right? So, and that's how it starts, because a couple of years ago, my friend said to me, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I said, "I want you to bring food. I want you to bring drinks. We're going to sit around my dining table and we're going to do our end-of-life plans."
Oh, yes.
Jeez,
and they were like,
you're a lot of fun, hey?
What? And they're like, "Are you sure that's what you want?" I was like, "Yes, that's exactly what I want." And that's what we did. It was the most amazing afternoon. My three closest friends sat around and,
That's great. I mean, for me, when I do pass on, we've said this, we're talking about this last week, but to me, the music on the way out is very important.
So important.
So important. Because I don't want any more of this, I did it my way or whatever. And whatever. We all did it our way.
Have you created a death playlist?
I mixed it. I even mixed it. I'm going to do a fresh one, though. Okay, update it a little bit. But it'll still have all the same cheesy sort of tones in it. But I want people on my way out. I want you to party like it's 1999.
Same.
Just go I have a ball.
Dancing.
I want I want dancing. I want music. I want lots and lots and lots of laughter.
Yes.
Because this is not something to be sad about, right? This is something that you're moving on to the next step of your life.
Would you consider a living wake so you can be there at the party?
Yeah,
I have considered this. I have. I didn't know. Is that such a thing?
Oh, absolutely. It's becoming so popular.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
So
every year that you're still here, you could have another one.
It's not having a birthday.
Way to go.
Come to my wake. And so much cheaper than faking your death. It's great. Yeah.
I reckon we should plan an event here at Edge.
That's a great idea. Why not?
Get Andrea along to have it.
Do people get if you're going to play with the theme on this? Is it morbid to play on the theme of darkness and all that kind of carry? And you have people consider death to be very Halloween-y, I guess, for want of a better word.
It can be anything you want it to be.
Exactly.
Anything you want it to be.
Right.
The sky's the
Clearly,
limit.
I'd want colour.
Yes.
Yeah, colour and music and light and all that sort of thing. But a living wake.
I love it.
Cool.
Let's plan one.
Sign me up.
Let's do one here, and you can be out. You can come in and do a thing with us, a session. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
See your skills as a doula on the way out. Look at that. Ex-doula.
Gosh. So have you got any advice to people out there that are watching? What's the biggest message you'd like to give them?
Get your plans in place. Write it down.
Yeah.
Having those conversations wrapped around those, there's no good just sitting down by yourself and just writing it out and not letting anybody know that you've written it out either, right? Yeah. Especially if you're dobbing them in for a job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They need to know about that. So
Sure
let's
do.
have these conversations.
Absolutely.
Let's have these conversations every day, just
I
little by
know.
little. And if you've got someone who's a bit tricky and a bit avoidant, there's little things that you can do, and it's just that little weaving every day. It's like just
great.
drop if I died, I don't know if I'd want to be cremated or buried. What about you? Just
that's really good.
little things like that. You can it doesn't have to be in your face. Like we need to sit down and talk about this now, because some people can't cope with that.
Yeah.
Right? We've been conditioned to not talk about it.
It's like when a woman says to a man, "We need to talk." You know, it's bad news.
Run away.
But you know what? If she can just drop a little hint here and there, manipulate away, it works. It does a great job.
I know.
It does,
It's so true. Like we find that it's so daunting. And I used to think of death as just death, like, and I used to literally say they dig a hole, throw you in, and that's the end of that. Well, that's how I felt. And in particular, I was going to ask you earlier, but I think that you said you lost your dad, and I feel very sorry for you. I've lost my mum, and I was incredibly bitter for a very, very long time about that. In fact, I'm not going to lie, I'm still a little bitter about that. This is something that if we change the mindset, right? Of okay, mum, or in your case, dad, they're off. Like in my case, mum would be absolutely up there driving Elvis nuts, right? Dancing, making lots of noise.
I can't wait to meet him.
Oh, gotcha. Cranking the speakers up, blowing them. That's if you think more of the transition and the fact that they're now getting to do something amazing and living that, or going into another life or whatever. It's you're less bitter and you're less caught up in grief, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
We still travel through the grief because it's a physical thing that we need to travel through.
And grief, I don't think grief ever goes away. It just changes.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
It does.
It's always with us, but it just changes. And sometimes it'll hit you like a ton of bricks and you'll be a sobbing mess, or you'll be super angry, or just lash out at somebody and you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
Exactly.
And you're just like, okay, you just give it the space that it needs.
Exactly. Just acknowledge that it's there, and it's part of what you're going through, and it's okay. It's okay to sit with grief and not be scared of it or whatever.
Often when we do this show, here's the thing. I think we need the soundbite. I need to get my act together. We need to have, let it go, let it go, let it go. A little bit of also just charge right in. That's what we need to do.
Well, that is kind of like my theme song in life.
Very much so.
Let it go. Don't be attached to anything. Grief, we can journey through it because that's a physical experience, but, we can let it go because, it's an experience, and it's a gift as well. It's a gift because we learn so much about ourselves when we sit in grief, and not treat it as the enemy or anything, but to actually embrace it and, see what it brings up for us.
Exactly. And then, and don't be afraid if you're struggling and you need help. There is always help out there.
Exactly. Knowing that you can ask for help. And this is where I love conversations like this, because it opens it up, and it, hopefully allows everybody else out there to have permission as well to actually start speaking about these topics. And
exactly.
Bringing it into your own lounge room. And I know you also connect with people via Zoom, so you can have these conversations with people anywhere in the world. So listeners that are in America or Europe or anywhere, if you want to get in touch with Andrea and, have a call, get your family together at the table and have Andrea drop into your living room, you can contact Andrea. And I know we've got your contact details that we can drop in the chat afterwards. Where can they catch hold of you? Do you have a website, or it's mainly through Facebook?
My website is currently under maintenance, but on Facebook as well. So Bringing You Home is my page. It's a public page, so everybody should be able to find it. And then I can leave my details, the email, if anybody needs to contact me.
That's awesome.
By
That is
email
awesome.
as well.
Any final thoughts for the day?
Oh, look, I'm just really grateful to Andrea for coming in. Like, having these conversations is really important, I think. And thank you so much for taking the time to come in today and share your knowledge and expertise with the audience and with us. I've learned something new today.
It's all right. There is so much value in just sitting, having a conversation, and realizing you've got two of these ears for a reason. Actually turn them on and listen for what. Thanks very much. There we go.
Thank you so much, Andrea.
Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for being part
of
of the show. Of course, it is Soulbirth here on Edge Radio Australia.